You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from a special announcement place where the only communication between individuals are special announcements, which is really great for emergencies, but really bad for routine medical appointments. But hey, enough about that. This is Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
As a wise man once said, podcasting is back on the menu, boys. It's Interdimensional RSS. Welcome. My name is Travis.
Hello, everyone. I am Brandon, and welcome to today's show. Today's show is brought to you by the letter A and new episodes.
Number 15.
That's right. This is a special bonus episode. We say bonus episode, but really this is an episode because we just got some good news today. The announcement of when the series is coming back for the next season. And so we wanted to do a real quick episode for you, and then we're gonna do, next week we're gonna do a little bit longer episode.
Stretch it out. We'll get into some deets. But as you may or may not know, very special news. They actually hinted at this news last week with some social media posts out on the Rick and Morty official socials and over on Adult Swim socials, hinting that this week we would be receiving the highly anticipated announcement of the premiere date for season 7 of Rick and Morty. And ladies and gentlemen,
it's here.
Here we are.
Steve Levy.
We're on the other side of history.
Okay, at Comic-Con, Steve Levy, he said, soon. Very, very soon. Very soon.
And do we have our own internal meme of Steve Levy saying soon that we send to each other on a regular basis? Maybe. I can't confirm that, but maybe we do.
Maybe we don't. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll find out the truth one day. But maybe
we should post it on our Instagram over at Rick and Morty Pod. For now, we'll see. Maybe it's different. We'll see what happens with that. Follow us on X if you need to. I don't like saying it. Facebook.com/Rick and Morty Podcast. As we get closer to the season, you want to make sure that you're re-engaging with the subreddit from time to time, rickandmorty.reddit.com, or you can go to our subreddit, rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com. You can go to our website, rickandmortypod.com, and then check out our stuff. If you're not subscribed, if you're hearing this randomly, you can subscribe on your favorite podcatcher, or check out video episodes over on YouTube, youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. Finally, big thanks to all the patrons over at patreon.com. Continue to support this podcast, everything we do. All right, that's the business out of the way. Now we get down to the meat. No semi-pertinent news. We'll save that for Monday.
None of that.
And there's semi-pertinent things to talk about, but no, we value your time too much.
Too much.
We received an email, as we often do, with a press release, and we are going to use that press release from our good friend Nicole. And we're gonna go through some of this announcement. You may have already seen the Bad Boys-esque poster online. What did you think of the poster that was shared on the interwebs, Brandon?
We received a message on our Instagram from somebody we know who is associated with the show and said, was that fan art? And it does look kind of fan arty.
It looks real fan arty. Like,
so shout out to whatever fan, and they have to be fans to draw the show, or advertisement for social media. So I did think it was a little fan arty, but it's no Warmageddon, but what can be?
What few things can be, if we're being honest. I did like on the Instagram post the actual caption, which was, "We ride together, we die together, we're buried in the backyard together." I thought that was great. If you have not seen this image, I should have prepared in advance, but it is an audio medium, and most of you will be listening to this. So I will describe it as a poster with the spaceship in the background. you have Morty, Summer, and Rick. They're all facing the camera, I guess. That's all I can remember from memory. I should actually look it up.
No, that's good. They have a Kevlar type body armor on. Rick and Morty do. Summer's
Yeah.
in the middle of them, kind of in the foreground. They're looking kind of
She's
bad.
got handcuffs on one hand. Rick and Morty are both packing heat, and the typeface looks like the Bad Boys poster. It looks like a Bad Boys poster. The movie Bad Boys.
There you go. There you go. The movie
Will Smith, Martin Lawrence classic films.
from which Rick and Morty was actually based
Yeah,
upon.
many people ask me all the time, what is Rick and Morty based on? And then I tell them it's Bad Boys.
Yeah, at Comic-Con, people were sitting behind us, and they're like, did you know it's based off of Back to the Future? And we turned around instantly and said, hey, no.
Stop gaslighting your friends.
It's Bad Boys 2 specifically. Okay. Anyways, so that's the image that they showed for this. Last week we didn't talk about this, but of course they did a teaser going into this week saying, hey, they're going to release the actual release date next week. Last week they showed a teaser of a bunch of clips from Rick fighting Rick Prime, and kind of leading into next week, we're going to tell you the release date. So I think one thing
set to a Smashing Pumpkins song, I believe.
Yeah, bullet with butterfly wings.
Yeah. So, next week I think we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive, looking into that relationship between Rick Prime and Rick C-130, and then we'll get into details of that in a little bit. But for now, we're again bonus episode. Pew, pew, pew. Let's just talk about the announcement from today. The big thing, Sunday, October 15th at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Adult Swim. Rick and Morty season 7 is back. So this is again a Sunday night. No change in time slot or night, and to go along with the announcement of the start date, they have confirmed another 10 episodes for season 7 in this announcement. Any surprises based on the date? I think we both sort of expected the fall. Do you feel this is earlier or later than you expected? What do you think?
I think this kind of aligns with where at Comic-Con when they said very soon. But they also, I forget where we'd heard that it was going to be this year, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in our heads, we did have some conversation back and forth about whether or not they're actually going to release, if they had voices, like when is it actually going to be a thing? But you know, if they were going to release it in 2023, we knew it was going to be fall. I always figured that September was maybe a little bit too early. If it was going to be September, it would be late September. So mid-October probably aligns pretty closely with what, I would expect to see.
It feels right. It feels like sort of the season that we're starting to get used to a little bit in terms of like a late like fall creeping into winter over the course of 10 episodes. Maybe there's a break in there for like a holiday, maybe
Christmas,
they
New
maybe
Year.
they skip a Thanksgiving weekend or something. But this should stretch out most of the end of the year for Rick and Morty episodes, which I think is going to be great. There's some really good information. I think this press release is great. It talks about how they're debuting this season in 134 countries in 38 different languages. If you were unclear on the size and popularity of Rick and Morty up to this point, it's crazy to me that it has that kind of reach, and so many people all over the world are excited to check this out. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And on top of that, it says in the press release about in the U.S., one of the things that we have always kind of had an issue with, like I have Adult Swim through cable provider. Like I can
Old
get to
man, boomer.
Yeah. I'm definitely not borrowing anything from any of my relatives. I pay for it.
Yep,
certainly.
100%. all
100%.
things, all platforms.
Yar. I definitely do.
Sometimes you pay for the same one twice just to make sure that you're not. Yeah.
Just to be sometimes I pay for it like 3 or 4 times when I rewatch an episode just to make sure that, they're
Yeah.
getting money for people who aren't paying for it.
Because you support the artists and you want them to get their residuals.
Yes, exactly. The residuals that aren't being sufficiently doled out by the suits. Anyways, okay. So, one of the things we end up happening with, I have the cable stuff, but sometimes it's difficult for you. Sometimes if you don't get that episode and you are like, I can't watch it yet.
Yeah,
Wait.
so for the past couple seasons, I have been purchasing the seasons, like a season pass. I'll buy it through like Apple's iTunes store. And like it says in the press release, new episodes will be available for purchase from digital retailers the day after they premiere on Adult Swim. So I think what was happening is they were becoming available that next day, that next morning, so I wasn't able to watch them during the premiere. Like they're not available on the iTunes store the night of, but the next day you can watch it. But then this was really interesting to me, and I'm curious if this is going to hold true or not. It also says the new season will also be available to stream in 2024. Oh, okay, 2024.
2024.
It'll be so
It's not that
unlike
surprising. Nothing's changed.
unlike
Sorry.
your Teenage Euthanasia, which is streaming the next day on Max. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait. If you're wanting to stream this, if you don't have Adult Swim and you don't want to pay for the season outright, you're waiting till 2024. Sorry, October 15th is not special for you. If you're willing to wait, if you're cool with waiting, yeah, I guess just subscribe to this podcast and you can play them back sometime in 2024. We're here for you in that
Yep.
way. But for those of you that are super excited to get this as soon as possible, really the only way to get it right away will be through Adult Swim, and then a day later if you want to purchase it. Or, whatever other means you may find not included in this press release.
Yes, because we don't support that. We support the artist.
We support the artists.
Another thing in this press release talks about this is kind of interesting. It was the #1 comedy across all of cable during seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6, and has become a multi-platform sensation. Well, that's sensational. Not just on television, but across digital, gaming, live streaming, retail, and fan experiences.
And
Interesting.
podcasts.
And podcasts.
At least this one.
19
Podcasts,
million
not actually in the press release.
19 million viewers, Travis, on linear broadcast in 2022. What does linear broadcast mean, Travis? Can you define that for us?
Well, let me consult the BS I'm going to make up. I think linear broadcasting is in fact good old cable type broadcasting. It's not streaming. It is the old school way of processing media, and I think this dates back to your Nielsen ratings and how people would gauge the popularity of television, which, not to get too technical, drives ad revenue and makes the whole thing work. Okay. The problem is with streaming, you can provide some feedback about how many times a show is streamed, but if there's no advertisements in streaming, it's not as beneficial. And then, okay, how many times is it replayed on different platforms? So I really think the 19 million viewers on linear broadcasting, that's kind of a signal to those advertisers, like, hey, Wendy's,
check it out.
Don't forget us. You got more breakfast sandwiches. We got more commercials to make.
I have a question about this 19 million viewers, Travis. Here, prediction time. Do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be more? Do you think it's going to be less? Do you think it's going to grow, or do you think it's going to shrink? What do you think? Call it now. Put your bets in now.
Here's my bold prediction for 2023.
Okay.
There are going to be a lot of people that maybe have wandered from the show, maybe have drifted apart, but with all of the off-season controversy, with the recasting of the voices of Rick and Morty, I think interest will initially peak. There will be, I think the season premiere is going to do very well because people are going to want to check it out. They're going to want to see how the show is. Is it different? Do they like it? I fully expect between now and October for us to get an actual trailer for season 7 that has to have the new voices in it, right? They have to show us something to expect. I feel like it's too big of a risk to wait until the season premiere for people to hear the voices, because then that's all the discussion is going to be, is the voices and not about the content of the episode itself.
I wonder that. I wonder that a little bit, right? Because will they do an actual trailer like that, or will they do like a trailer where they have a voiceover with like the movie voice guy with clips
Show me what you got.
with Rick and Morty season 7 scenes, but having just like a voiceover where they're not actually doing the voices for it, right?
Much like Solar Opposites leaked, like introduced the voice in a trailer. I really like the way that they did that. I would hope that they do it in a trailer, but I mean, that's their decision.
Yeah, that's true. We're not Adult Swim PR or advertising, so we don't know. We trust you, but you think initially it'll peak? You think it might dwindle?
Yeah. So here's to close out the point. If they have a really strong season premiere, then I think it could extend into the rest of the season and maybe bring back some viewers.
Maybe word of mouth initially will be like, the voices change, but I mean it's still good, and
they don't sound that different.
And if it's better, even if it's like a good premiere, and they're like, wow, okay, it's not just because Roiland was the voice that it was a good show. It's because the writing's great.
It's because there are like hundreds of people involved in the production that all work together to make something that we enjoy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But so using that as kind of a leaping off point, I want to go over the last paragraph of the press release, because there's lots of tidbits we can glean from this.
Bits.
Okay, so I'm just going to read it as is, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Bit by bit. Rick and Morty are back and sounding more like themselves than ever. It's season 7, and the possibilities are endless. What's up with Jerry? Evil summer? And will they ever go back to the high school? Maybe not, but let's find out. There's probably less piss than last season. Rick and Morty, 100 years, or at least until season 10. That is the last paragraph.
There you go. So many layers, so many Easter eggs to peel back on. The first and foremost being Rick and Morty are back and sounding more like themselves than ever. I think that was a clever and interesting way to address the recasting without drawing it out or being crazy about it. So obviously they're acknowledging the fact that they're being recast and that they sound like themselves. They're not going to sound different. We'll let the audience decide, but yeah.
We'll let you decide. You let us know, and I mean, it'll be a talking point, I'm sure, when we find out who is actually the new voices of Morty. The possibilities are endless. What's up with Jerry? I mean, that's whoever knows what's up with Jerry.
Yeah, I don't feel like Jerry was in a particularly like weird place at the end of last season. Like, was he? I feel like he was still just Jerry. What's up with him? I guess we'll find out more in 7. Like,
yeah,
cool.
It could be like that. It could be like I don't know, what's up with Jerry? I don't know, whatever. Or it could be like a specific episode where it's like something's going on with Jerry. He's acting out of character, like maybe like an expansion of the Taddy Mason type thing. Right? Like what's going on? What's going on? The next piece. Evil summer, evil all in caps with summer exclamation point question mark. What do we think? Do we need is that an introduction of a new villain, or is it just a play on, well, if there was an evil Morty, there probably should be an evil summer.
I don't know how much I hate this. as like low hanging fruit, like, okay, we had an evil Morty, let's do an evil Summer, right? I kind of want this to be like a misdirect, sort of like in the title sequences where half of the scenes are from episodes and half the scenes are just totally made up, and at the beginning of a season you don't know which is which, and you're like, is there gonna be an episode where a butter Morty falls into a frying pan? It's possible. Let's just keep watching to see. Yeah, there could be an evil Summer episode. The idea of an evil Summer is not wildly, but if she's just like has an eye patch and like a circuit board falls out from behind her eye, I don't know. We're gonna have to talk to Scott Martyr or something. We're gonna have to set up an interview.
I think it'd be funny if the joke is evil Summer, but it's nothing like that at all. I know in Night Family that was kind of an evil Summer type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was good with that. Where evil Summer is just a smart Summer. But we'll see. There's something there that we're not seeing, obviously, because we haven't seen the season yet. But speaking of things we haven't seen yet, but in some ways you and I have seen so far, is will they ever go back to the high school? Travis, will they?
This is an interesting question, because the start of the series was very much like centric around the fact that they were high school students. Morty and Summer were in high school. A lot of plot lines centered around people they went to school with, Goldenfold, teachers, principal vagina, no relation. And they've gotten away from that. The show has gotten a lot bigger. It's less about kids in high school and their crazy sci-fi grandpa, and the stakes have gotten bigger, and so did we ever see them go to high school in season 6? I'm trying to think. I can't remember an episode offhand that they even went to the school. So
I don't quite recall. But I mean, the question isn't will Morty and Summer go back to the high school. They say, and will they ever go back to the high school? Will they? Who is they? Who is the they in this sentence? I don't know, but what we do know is that the creators, the writers, the showrunners, the animators, the artists, all of them, the sound people, all of them are going back to the high school, because when we were at Comic-Con and we did the panel, they were talking about the preview for one of the episodes in season 7 where they do in fact go back to the high school to pick up a particular character there.
Yeah.
So
a genius with mathematics.
yes.
Yes.
Not saying any names because we don't want to spoil anything, but that's what we heard. That's what we
just
heard.
think of a math genius at the high school. We won't say any names. Anyway, moving on. There's probably less piss than last season.
No.
How could there not be?
No. I messed it up when I read the entire paragraph. You messed it up right now. There's a key word there that we need to emphasize. There's probably less piss than last season. Probably. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe there's a whole episode that's just piss.
maybe
only if we're lucky.
Maybe it's 22 to 23 minutes of just them pissing nonstop.
It's a real artistic episode. Like you really gotta appreciate it.
It's like the BoJack Horseman episode where it's all silent and he's underwater, but like similarly, it's just them under piss. Maybe Travis. I don't know.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
You've never seen that episode, I guess. But.
I've never watched BoJack. That's not true. I've seen some episodes. That is the press release. 100 years, or at least until season 10.
Yep.
I'm excited. We got some artwork with the press release. It's Rick holding a big old casserole of like either It's either
Lasagna?
spaghetti or lasagna. Artist choice, right? But yeah, it's that's like the only I think official like episode type art that we have, because I
And it's
I
going in our
I think
it's
I
going
think
in our show notes.
I think the poster could be fan art. It could be. Yeah, we cannot confirm, but it could be fan art.
Cannot
Yeah.
no, and we won't try to. But certainly, if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you will probably see. If you have the new iOS, you will
If you're
probably see,
using the iOS 17 beta, then
you will
you'll see the episode art.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it. That is it. Even though this was kind of a bonus, kind of quick episode, it was still pretty long, and that's okay. That's okay because we like talking to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
We would like to hear more about what you think about the release date. Do you think there's going to be a break? Do you think it's going to go into spring, summer of next year? Do you think season 8 will be next fall at around the same time too? Or do you think that's going to be delayed a little bit?
Are you going to be one of those 19 million using linear broadcasting, or how are you going to watch it some other way? How do you plan on watching the episode?
Or are you going to wear an eye patch and join other people eye patching things on streaming services that we don't support because that is bad. Unless you're paying for it.
Let us know.
Let us know. Shoot us some social media stuff. Hit us up. We're gonna have a new episode over on Monday or Tuesday. Again, going over some of the clips that we had from last week. Just talking about that Rick Prime versus Rick, seeing what that means, maybe some predictions, and I think that's it for now. Travis, you want to close out with anything?
No, just thank you so much for being here. Thanks for subscribing. If you're new here, rate, review, do all that stuff. It really helps us and will help us reach folks as we get into this new season. Thanks so much for being here, and until next time, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon. Thank you so much.